Imagine waking up one morning and realizing that the person who should have your back, who should be there to support you, has completely disappeared. That's a wake-up call for many of us, and it's the kind of thing that forces us to reflect deeply. What if I told you that the first person who should take care of you, the first person who should support you, is you? We live in a world that thrives on relationships, whether they're personal, professional, or even social. We're taught from a young age that the people around us matter, that our family, our friends, and our colleagues are the ones who will pick us up when we fall. But the truth, the harsh and undeniable truth, is this: if you don't take care of yourself, no one else can. Let's break this down. The brain, your body, your mind, they're not just passive entities that absorb life's experiences. They need care, they need attention, and if you fail to give yourself that, what happens? You become a shell of the person you're meant to be. Without taking care of your physical, mental, and emotional well-being, you set yourself up for a spiral. The world won't take the time to figure out what you're lacking. It won't wait for you to catch up. And here's where things get unsettling. Most people, including those close to you, don't know what it takes to keep you functioning at your best. They have their own battles to fight. But here's the thing. You know yourself better than anyone else. You are the one who feels the pressure, the weight of exhaustion, the toll of neglect. And in your pursuit of doing everything for everyone else, you often forget the one thing that matters the most: you. Think about it. You can't pour from an empty cup. If you're not fueling your body with proper nutrition, not engaging in physical activity that strengthens you, not giving your mind time to recharge and refresh, you'll become ineffective. Your health, your energy, your emotional state, they will deteriorate. And in that state, you're not just doing a disservice to yourself, you're doing a disservice to everyone you care about. This isn't about selfishness, it's about survival, sustainability, and effectiveness. If you truly want to show up for others, to be a pillar of strength for your family, your friends, your colleagues, you have to be strong yourself. Not just physically, but mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. The energy you give out to the world is a reflection of what you've invested in yourself. The science is clear. Neuroscientific research tells us that the brain and body are intricately connected. When you take care of one, you boost the other. Movement improves brain function. Sleep regenerates your cognitive power. Nutrition impacts mood and decision-making. And here's the kicker. If you ignore your physical health, your mental health will pay the price. If you neglect your mental health, your physical health will suffer. The two are inseparable. Now, think about the role of self-compassion. It's easy to get lost in the hustle, to think that taking a moment to pause, to breathe, to rest is weakness. But let me tell you, true strength comes from knowing when to rest, when to step back, and when to take care of yourself. By doing so, you're not just preserving your own energy, you're preserving the quality of the life you live and the relationships you have. So the question is, who will take care of you if you don't take care of yourself? The world won't. The people around you can't fully do it for you. You are the master of your own health, your own future, your own path. If you want to show up as the best version of yourself, to be the leader, the friend, the family member that people can rely on, you have to make yourself a priority. When you don't take care of your mind and body, when you neglect the essential parts of your well-being, you're telling the world that you're not worth the investment. But here's the powerful truth. You are worth it. You are worth every effort, every small choice you make to improve your health, to strengthen your mind, to fuel your body with what it needs. And as you begin to invest in yourself, you'll notice the world around you will change. You'll have more energy to be present for others. You'll feel more capable, more confident, more alive. The momentum you create within yourself will be contagious, impacting everyone you interact with. But none of this happens without first acknowledging the need to take care of the one person who matters the most in your life. you. Self-care is not just a luxury or something to do when you have free time. It is the cornerstone of personal growth and success. When you take care of yourself, you're investing in your future. Without self-care, it's nearly impossible to perform at your best. Think of it this way. You wouldn't expect a car to run efficiently without regular maintenance, oil changes, and care for its engine, right? The same principle applies to your body and mind. Without proper nutrition, sleep, exercise, and mental care, you're running on empty and you won't be able to reach your full potential. You see, self-care isn't just about avoiding burnout, it's about creating the foundation for growth. Every time you take care of yourself, you're building resilience, focus, and energy for the challenges that lie ahead. Think about it in terms of the brain and how it functions. When you give your body what it needs, whether through regular movement, good nutrition, or quality sleep, you're optimizing your brain's performance. This translates into better decision-making, creativity, and emotional regulation. Without those fundamental building blocks in place, you can't think clearly or perform effectively. It's not just physical care that matters. You must also tend to your emotional and mental well-being. Regularly checking in with yourself, practicing mindfulness, or simply allowing time for reflection helps you remain grounded and focused. If you ignore these aspects of self-care, your mind becomes cluttered and your capacity for complex thought diminishes. Without mental clarity, everything else falters. The reality is, if you don't make time for your health, for your own mental and physical needs, your personal growth is stunted. You will always be playing catch up. The world will demand more and more of you, but without that foundation, you will constantly feel drained, overwhelmed, and disconnected from your purpose. When you commit to taking care of yourself first, you're not just maintaining your body or mind, you're actively fostering the growth you need to succeed. Exercise has an immediate impact on your mood. It releases endorphins, your brain's natural mood boosters, which can help reduce anxiety, depression, and stress. But that's not all. Physical activity also helps regulate cortisol, a stress hormone, and reduces inflammation throughout the body. Chronic stress, when left unchecked, can impair cognitive function, disrupt sleep, and even weaken the immune system. But by incorporating exercise into your routine, you're actively reducing those stress responses, giving your brain the environment it needs to function optimally. Sleep is another critical factor in this mind-body connection. During deep sleep, your brain works to clear away toxins, consolidate memories, and restore neural networks that you rely on for focus and clarity. If you're not getting enough quality sleep, you are essentially sabotaging your brain's ability to perform at its best. It doesn't matter how smart or capable you are. Without sleep, you won't be able to think clearly, make good decisions, or maintain emotional balance. And it's not just about quantity. The quality of your sleep matters just as much. By focusing on physical health, you're not just building strength, you're giving your mind the foundation it needs to thrive. Whether it's exercise, sleep, or proper nutrition, these aspects of self-care provide the essential building blocks for mental clarity, focus, and emotional stability. When you prioritize your physical health, you're setting up your brain for success. When you fail to take care of yourself, you're essentially putting yourself in a position where you can't fully show up for the people and responsibilities in your life. You can't expect others to carry the weight of your emotional, physical, or mental burdens for you, not in a sustainable way. And the reason for that is simple. No one can truly understand what you're experiencing on a deep, personal level. They don't have access to your internal state. They don't feel the physical strain, the mental fatigue, or the emotional wear and tear that you might be going through. As much as they care for you, and as much as they might try to help, they can't operate with the same level of awareness or control over your needs as you can. When you don't prioritize your well-being, your energy begins to diminish. You might think that pushing through the exhaustion, the stress, or the burnout is a sign of strength, but in reality, it's a recipe for long-term depletion. And when you're depleted, you have nothing left to give. At that point, Even if you want to be there for others, you simply can't. You won't have the mental clarity to offer valuable advice, the physical energy to lend a hand, or the emotional stability to provide the support others rely on. The people around you cannot fill that void for you because they aren't equipped to replenish your energy and restore your well-being in the same way that you can. You are the only person who can create the conditions necessary for your health and vitality. The self-care you invest in today is the fuel you need to operate at your best tomorrow. If you don't take care of yourself, you set up a cycle where you become increasingly ineffective, not just for yourself, but for others too. When you make self-care a priority, you're not only improving your own well-being, but you're also enhancing your ability to show up for the people who matter most. You'll have more to give, more energy to pour into the relationships that are important to you, and more clarity to tackle the challenges life throws your way. Your ability to give to others begins with giving to yourself. Without that self-care foundation, you cannot truly serve those who depend on you. The reality is, life does not wait for you to get your act together. The world keeps moving, and the demands on your time, energy, and attention will only increase as you move forward. If you neglect to take care of your health, your body, your mind, your emotions, everything will begin to crumble beneath the weight of those demands. There's a false sense of security that many people have, thinking that they can push through the fatigue or mental fog and somehow manage to keep up with life. But this is a dangerous illusion. When you don't make self-care a priority, you're essentially setting yourself up for failure in the long run. Your body and mind will signal to you, sometimes subtly, sometimes with an overwhelming force, that you are neglecting your own well-being. Those signals might come in the form of physical exhaustion, irritability, mental burnout, or even chronic health issues. What starts as a small issue can quickly snowball. And once you hit that point, it becomes a lot harder to bounce back. The world will keep demanding more from you, but you will have less and less to give. Here's the problem. You cannot rely on the world to recognize your needs and slow down for you. Your job, your relationships, the tasks that pile up, they won't pause while you recover. And while other people may offer support, they can't fill the gap for you on a sustainable level. The responsibility of your well-being rests with you and only you. The best way to stay in the game, to remain relevant, and to show up as your best self in every aspect of life is by prioritizing your own health, physically, mentally, and emotionally. When you take time to rest, exercise, eat well, and manage stress, you're essentially reinforcing your capacity to handle life's ongoing pressures. You're preparing your body and mind to meet the demands that will inevitably come. If you fail to do so, life will take its toll on you, and you will find yourself struggling to keep up. Time will continue to pass, but without proper self-care, it will become harder and harder to stay in the race. Mental health and physical health are two sides of the same coin, and they cannot be separated if you want to function optimally in your life. When one is neglected, the other suffers. You can't simply treat one without acknowledging how deeply connected they are. Think about how your brain works. It's not just about thinking and processing information. It's also deeply influenced by what happens in your body. If you're stressed, fatigued, or malnourished, your brain's ability to function well will deteriorate. On the flip side, when you prioritize your physical health, your brain's capacity to think clearly, focus, and maintain emotional balance improves significantly. The brain, for instance, is a highly energy-demanding organ. If your body is not receiving the right fuel, whether it's through proper nutrition, sleep, or exercise, your brain will not be able to operate at its best. You'll experience mental fog, mood swings, and poor concentration. But when you nourish your body with the right kind of nutrients, when you engage in physical activity that gets your blood flowing, and when you prioritize good sleep, your brain responds in kind. It becomes sharper, more resilient, and better equipped to handle the challenges life throws your way. Stress is another example of how mental health directly affects physical health. Chronic stress can wreak havoc on your body, affecting everything from your immune system to your heart, digestive system, and beyond. But when you take the time to manage stress through mindfulness, exercise, or relaxation techniques, you not only protect your mental health, but you're also shielding your body from the long-term effects of stress. It's a simple but profound truth. Mental health is just as critical as physical health, and neglecting one will ultimately damage the other. The key to living a balanced and effective life is acknowledging this deep connection and giving equal attention to both. The better you take care of your body, the better your brain will function. And when your mind is clear and strong, you'll be better equipped to manage your emotions, make decisions, and navigate life's challenges. Taking care of yourself is not selfish. It's one of the most powerful investments you can make, not only for yourself, but for everyone around you. In a culture that often glorifies self-sacrifice and being constantly on for others, it can feel counterintuitive to focus on your own needs first. But the truth is, you cannot effectively serve others if you're running on empty. Prioritizing self-care isn't an act of selfishness, it's an act of self-respect and self-preservation. When you fill your own cup, you are better equipped to pour into the lives of others in a meaningful way. Think about the physiological side of self-care. Your brain and body need rest, nourishment, and movement to function properly. Without these essentials, your emotional resilience and cognitive abilities start to diminish. If you try to give and give without replenishing yourself, you will eventually reach a breaking point. That's where burnout occurs, a state where you've pushed yourself past your limits, thinking that you're being noble in doing so, but in reality, you've become ineffective. You've lost the ability to truly show up for the people who need you most. By investing in yourself, you are creating a stable foundation from which you can thrive and contribute to others. The energy you put into taking care of your body, mind, and emotions doesn't just help you, it reverberates outward. When you practice self-compassion and make time for rest, you enhance your ability to handle stress, make thoughtful decisions, and respond to challenges in a calm and measured way. You become someone who others can rely on, not because you're constantly giving to them, but because you have learned how to give to yourself first. Self-care is an investment that pays dividends. It enhances your ability to be present, to listen, to support, and to lead. When you prioritize your own well-being, you aren't just making yourself stronger. You are making everyone around you stronger too. Far from being selfish, this is the most sustainable way to contribute to others and to live a fulfilling, balanced life. Self-compassion is often misunderstood as a form of weakness or indulgence, but in reality, it is one of the most powerful tools you can use to build long-term strength and resilience. When we think of strength, we tend to imagine pushing through pain, ignoring fatigue, or constantly striving to achieve more. But true strength doesn't come from mindlessly pushing ourselves to the limit. It comes from understanding our limits and respecting them. Self-compassion is not about being soft on yourself. It's about recognizing when you need to rest, when you need support, and when it's time to recharge. It's about giving yourself permission to take a step back, not as a sign of weakness, but as a strategic move to ensure that you can continue moving forward. Neuroscience shows that when we are kind to ourselves, when we practice self-compassion, it actually activates positive neural pathways in the brain. These pathways are tied to emotional regulation and resilience. Self-compassion helps mitigate the stress response and reduces the levels of cortisol, the hormone linked to stress. This creates a more balanced, less reactive emotional state, allowing us to think more clearly, make better decisions, and be more effective in everything we do. It's a form of mental training that strengthens our ability to handle difficult situations with grace and resilience. On the other hand, when we constantly criticize ourselves, when we are harsh or judgmental about our own perceived shortcomings, it has the opposite effect. We flood our bodies with stress hormones, impairing our decision-making abilities and eroding our emotional strength. The key to resilience is not about toughening up and ignoring your needs. It's about being attuned to what you need in the moment and responding with care. By practicing self-compassion, you are setting yourself up for long-term success. You are giving yourself the space to grow and learn without the burden of self-criticism weighing you down. Self-compassion is not a luxury, but a necessity for sustaining your mental and physical health. It's the foundation upon which your true strength can be built. One of the most critical aspects of self-care is preventing burnout before it happens, and the best way to do that is through consistent, proactive care of your physical and mental health. Burnout doesn't come from a single overwhelming event. It's the result of prolonged stress, neglect, and a failure to recognize the signs of depletion until it's too late. It sneaks up on you, gradually draining your energy, focus, and motivation until you feel completely overwhelmed. The key to preventing burnout is not about waiting for the warning signs, but actively creating a lifestyle that supports long-term resilience. The science of stress is clear. The body and mind can only handle so much without recovery. If you're constantly in a state of fight or flight, your cortisol levels stay elevated, your heart rate remains high, and your brain enters a constant state of alertness. Over time, this takes a toll on both your physical and mental health. Chronic stress can impair immune function, disrupt your sleep, affect your digestion, and lead to emotional instability. The result is a vicious cycle. Stress leads to more stress, and without intervention, burnout becomes inevitable. But here's the good news. Burnout is preventable by incorporating regular self-care habits into your routine, like exercise, adequate sleep, mindful relaxation, and healthy nutrition. You're building a buffer against stress. Exercise, for instance, helps your body process stress hormones more effectively, while sleep provides the necessary restoration for both your brain and body. Mindfulness and meditation help you manage your emotional responses, so you're not constantly reacting to external pressures in a way that drains your energy. The key is consistency. It's not enough to take a vacation or rest when you're already at the brink. Preventing burnout requires daily habits that promote recovery and resilience. Small, daily acts of self-care compound over time, creating a foundation of well-being that keeps you from reaching that breaking point. If you're proactive about taking care of your physical and mental health, you'll be able to navigate the challenges of life with clarity and energy, reducing your risk of burnout and allowing you to perform at your best over the long haul. One of the most effective ways to enhance your overall well-being and ensure long-term success is by creating routines that prioritize your health, both physically and mentally. The human brain thrives on consistency, and the more you can integrate healthy habits into your daily routine, the more your mind and body will function at their highest capacity. A routine is not just a list of things you do, it's the framework within which you operate, allowing you to conserve mental energy, reduce decision fatigue, and make progress toward your goals with minimal resistance.